So we are in the small town of, it's called Hecktown. We're right along the Susquehanna River on Front Street. You see some of the cool bridges that come across the Susquehanna here. There's a train going across the one bridge right now. They even have a sign up here for Hecktown. A little whitish sign there. There's probably some history there, but it's not the easiest place to pull off. But I think it's really pretty going along Susquehanna here. I was filming at Man of the Iron Furnace, and I saw that Fort Hunter was only 11 miles away, and I was like, you know what? Let's go down there and see if we can film. A lot of really cool buildings along here. There's some old stone fortifications of some sort. What that is exactly, I don't know. And this is. I don't think this is anything but last river raft. This is probably where they had, like, Millersburg has a ferry. They probably had some kind of ferry here. So let me turn her around here. I sort of figured that Fort Hunter would be better marked than that, but you never know, because I've never been here before. So pretty cool old stone bridge underneath there. A stone house, a little outbuilding type thing. Probably a spring house or something of that nature. Like I said, I've never been here before. I know Cliff has, because he did the whole his French and Indian war. So there it says like Fort Hunter. So I don't know if that's, really not sure yet. But I'll probably try to take some pictures. They do have a historic marker around here somewhere. We'll do that, and then see some of the cool old stone buildings there. We're gonna park here just quick, and then we're gonna do this video just quick. Thanks, everybody. So there's quite a few signs here, and this first one that I found here, that's over there is the Fort Hunter Mansion. I'm assuming that's part of the property over there as well. We might drive over there, but there's apparently where the museum is where the original Fort Hunter was. But this is actually more of what I had talked about earlier with some of our earlier videos about slavery existing, that you just, part of the history that just isn't talked about. It says slavery was entwined with Pennsylvania's earliest colonial history. Governor William Penn, founder of the colony in 1681, owned 11 enslaved people. A century later, Pennsylvania passed the 1780 gradual emancipation law. This allowed for the eventual freedom of the children of the enslaved. A child born in 1780 or later would be free by the age of 28. Most northern states had passed similar laws by the early 1800s. That's just like one of the most awful things. I can't even, like today we can't even grasp that kind of thought process. Enslaved people worked on farms and in taverns and craftsman shops and as servants. The majority lived in or around Philadelphia, where slaves were imported. The 1790 Pennsylvania census recorded 6,537 free blacks and 3,737 enslaved blacks. By 1810, only 795 enslaved people lived in the state, although the total black population had doubled. Slavery ended in Pennsylvania by the late 1840s. So it's like one of those things that you don't think of, that slavery still existed to some degree till the 1840s. Slavery at Fort Hunter From 1786 to the 1830s, over 20 enslaved people lived and worked at Fort Hunter. Their parents and ancestors had been stolen from Africa. The McAllister family, who created all of Fort Hunter's earliest surviving buildings, was one of the largest slave owners in Dauphin County. Along with free laborers, blacks worked on the Fort Hunter plantation, farming, cooking, and running a dairy. Among them were at least two families, the Craigs and the Jenkins. At that time, Fort Hunter included a farm, a tavern, and a distillery and a mill. Saul Craig fled from the Fort Hunter bondage in 1828 when she was around 60. Although owned by the McAllister since she was a girl, they had planned to sell her because of financial reversals. The sale advertisement described her as strong and active of her age, an excellent washer, baker, and cook, and understands the management of a dairy and soap boiling. By then, small communities of free blacks had formed in nearby Harrisburg and Halifax. Perhaps they provided aid and refuge to Saul, but nothing more is known of her story. That's just, I don't know. That's one of those things that just really sort of pisses you off. Like, not just sort of, but really, really pisses you off, because it's just like, you gotta be kidding me. At the birth of the United States in the 1770s, slavery was firmly embedded in its fabric. Blacks stolen from Africa were shipped to America as part of a lucrative trade system. Most enslaved people lived in the South, but 10% lived in the North. By 1810, the population of free blacks in the North had risen greatly because of the spread of abolitionist ideology. By 1810, the use of cotton gin made cotton a lucrative southern crop. This dramatically increased the need for enslaved labor. By the time of the Civil War in the 1860s, slavery had polarized the nation into free and slave states. The struggle over slavery, especially its expansion into more western territories, was the fuel that ignited the Civil War. By its outbreak in 1861, 4 million enslaved peoples toiled in the United States. The Proclamation of Emancipation, issued by Abraham Lincoln on January 1st, 1863, played a key role in ending slavery nationwide. And that's what the slave ships were. They just had them laying there and just, it's just awful. It's such a horrible, despicable time of our history, but it's part of our history, unfortunately. So we'll go over and check this out, and like I said, we'll drive over to the other side. Really not sure what's all there, and then like I said, I want to get more history on this, because I really normally I plan these things, and unfortunately I really did not plan. Prior to European settlement, this land was inhabited by the Susquehanna and Delaware Indian tribes. Around 1750, Samuel Hunter married the widow Catherine Chambers and settled here to run her grist mill. The Fort Hunter at Hunter's Mill, or Fort Hunter, was built here in 1755 by the British to protect settlers from Indian attacks. Captain Archibald McAllister purchased the land of the old mill and old fort in 1787. Over the years, he made many improvements to his plantation, including a tavern house, stone stables, ice house, spring house, and a mansion house. Captain John McAllister bought his father's estate in 1833. He was actively involved in construction and operation of the Pennsylvania Canal, which traveled through this property on its way to Pittsburgh. Daniel Dick Boaz, already pronounced that, bought Fort Hunter in 1870 for use as a gentleman's farm and as a summer home. He renovated many of the buildings and built a large dairy barn. I believe the dairy barn is probably that one right over there. Pretty nice building. And Helen Boaz Riley. I just need to quick check my battery, because in the cold it doesn't do well. And John Riley lived on their father's estate from their marriage in 1887 until their deaths. They increased the original acreage from 150 to 1,500, were well known and liked in the Harrisburg area. And it talks about their niece, Margaret Wister Meigs, of Philadelphia and Washington, D.C., inherited as well as purchased Fort Hunter in 1933 to preserve it and to create a museum of American history. And the 4 children of that, their niece, generously donated the property to the citizens of Dauphin County in 1980. And that's the 4 of them there. So here it gives actually a map. That's the mansion house, which is that right there. Actually, I guess this is, yeah, that's a Centennial barn. There's actually a covered bridge over there as well. So we'll go over there and maybe take some pictures and things like that, and pretty neat. Make sure there's nothing. Get a brochure while we're at it. Go from there. So I'm gonna pause the video for now because I want to take a picture of the mansion house, and then we'll take some other pictures as well. Thanks, everybody. Alright, so another little add-on here. The mansion was built in 3 sections. The middle stone section was built by Archibald McAllister in 1786 and is the oldest structure on the Fort Hunter property. In 1814, he added the elegant Federal-style front section. The next owner, Daniel Dick Boaz, added a rear wooden summer kitchen in 1870, and the house's decorative Victorian Italianate porches, balconies, and trim. Helen and John Riley added the colonial revival front porch and color scheme around 1900. And this is the mansion right here. Pretty beautiful place. So I'm gonna take some pictures. So here's what they were talking about. This is the middle section and that back summer house like kitchen. Really beautiful place. Pretty horrible history though with the slaves and that type of stuff. So, but like I said before, it's an unfortunate part of our history and needs to be remembered and needs to be talked about, because if you don't talk about it, you forget it in a lot of ways, and you're doomed to repeat it. Like a memorial here. It's pretty cool. I guess you can get tours here. And then they have the museum shop. Wherever the museum shop is where the original. And here is the Centennial Barn. The Daniel Dick Boaz constructed the grand building for his new business, the Fort Hunter Dairy. That's the building right there. Built into the side of a hill, it is a traditional German bank barn form common in this area. Unusual and elaborate Gothic revival details beautifully finished the structure. The interior of the first floor was originally outfitted with many cow stalls arranged scientifically to make the best use of the farmer's time and energy. The huge second floor housed storage for equipment, hay, and grain. They have like a gift shop back here or whatever they talk about. Well, we're gonna take some more pictures and then we'll go from there. Thanks, everybody. Alright, so we're gonna go around the property here, Fort Hunter. This was the stuff that was done later time. There's a covered bridge here. It's rather short. I think this originally came from like Perry County, but there's a whole slew of buildings here that have to do with this property. You have the Centennial Barn over there, which was for the dairy. This is the actual bridge, which we'll stop and check out. I just want to go around the property here, that way you guys can see some of the cool buildings that are here. This is pretty neat property. And like I said, I'm going to take a bunch more pictures because I want to add in some history, because honestly, when I went to go do this video, I was not intending, I didn't even know these other historic markers were here either. So it's pretty cool to be able to access some stuff like this. So I figured, why not? So I'll get more, do some research and know more what I'm talking about later on. But all right, thanks everybody. All right, so we are here at the Everhart Covered Bridge here in Dauphin County on the Fort Hunter estate here. Everhart Covered Bridge was built around 1881 to span the Little Buffalo Creek in Oliver Township, Perry County. Mrs. Margaret Wister Meigs, the preserver of Fort Hunter, purchased the bridge in 1940 for $70, saving it from demolition. She moved the bridge to this property, placing it directly on the ground of the mansion's front lawn. So I'm running out of memory as well, so we're just gonna quick go over here and check this out. This is the Everhart Bridge. Not a very long one, probably maybe 50 feet. But these were essential. Pennsylvania is one of the states that has the most of these too. If you would have your wish come true, the covered bridge you must go through. Yeah. Just look at that woodwork. Beautiful covered bridge. Cliff's doing a really cool series right now on covered bridges, so definitely something worth checking out. So with that, I'm going to close off. Thanks, everybody.